Seema Choria. Effective teaching focuses on why and how, not what. The goal should be to spark each student's imagination, to find a hook in their heart and mind so that they feel a need to learn the material. These are the words of our special guest today. He has been an educationist for over 23 years, has served as the dean and principal of 4 educational institutes. He is an author and his articles have been published in newspapers and magazines. Most of us struggle to finish one postgraduate degree. Well, our guest today has done 4. He has 2 master's degree in English, along with a master's degree in psychology and an MPhil in English. It's a privilege to welcome to our show Mr. P.R. Krishnan Kaushik. Welcome to the show, sir. It's an honor to have you here.
It's my pleasure actually to meet you all in this virtual platform.
Thank you, sir. So, sir, we would begin by knowing something about you and your career in education.
So most of the things, the glimpses of it you already told here right now. Being into this teaching profession, the thing is, from my childhood itself, being drawn to this because my parents were into academics, and all whatever I am today is just a gift of my father. What I can say that being in the childhood days, I did not interact much with him. That is what I feel. So my observation is more than anything else, and that dragged me towards teaching the days to come. And when it comes to this teaching, when I just took it seriously as a profession, so that is what I mean to say. I never thought of any other profession. So some of my teachers themselves, they said once, I could remember, why you are going for teaching profession where the salary is very less paid and all. And if you can concentrate on any industry or any other things, you could earn better and settle in life and other things. But I took this as a serious thing. That is what I mean to say. I never thought of any other profession in that. But how? I just want to build my career here itself. Let us think or say. That is what the thing is. That will be here on this track. That is what I think. So on that made me actually even right now to be in this academic and as an academician. That's part of me. And moreover, I don't know anything else also right now. This is how, so it has become a passion for me. It is just a passion for me. So, and whenever I just explain all these things, and also I get to come out satisfaction. That's what you see. It's not only the money that matters. The peace of mind and the joy which we do from that also counts a lot. So, I mean, to this teaching and probably I will go on with this only.
So it's your passion which keeps you intact to this profession?
Definitely, definitely.
So, sir, going ahead, sir, as we were just talking about pandemic before we just started, so during this time of staying at home, adjustment and uncertainty, what strength have you found in yourself?
That is what I said. I don't know anything other than teaching. So I've been exploring the different platforms here and interacting with people, and it is a good time for me to just go through it and all the which is a part of it, and then internally just go through myself. So where I am and what things I can do and how the world is carrying on with the things and what else I have to do. And moreover, I learned a lot of patience. That is what I think. So you could say that. So in this, what you could say, endless saga, so which we are going on, what I can tell you is, so we don't have a time for ourselves. So all these years, when I just say that my career, all these 23 years, what you said. So I don't have time to turn back also. That is what I think. I'm tied up with one or the other things and all. So I can make work, do that and all. So as an administrator, so this what you can say, it is not just teaching in a classroom and coming out of it. So we have a lot of work That is what things are answerable to many other things and all. Particularly, when you just go into the corporate institutions and all, other things, so you completely dive a path of things. So all such kind of things. And now, so I have got a time to know what I am, to remind all the things and all, strengthen myself in all ways, equip myself so for the changing world and move in a different direction. That is what I think. So I do something. So with our past experiences and all these things, let us contribute something new to the young generation. So this is what I would like to from this pandemic and in the long break.
Right, sir. Absolutely. We all have learned to be patient and trying exploring new things about ourselves during these times. So, sir, going ahead, sir, what is the philosophy of your school and what makes it unique?
Philosophy, when it comes to that, it's the present one where I work, the recent one is Java, where I teach of institutions. So learning for all, that is what I mean, learning for the betterment of the society, and providing equal opportunity for remote students also. This is what the aim we started with those things, and it is doing pretty well.
All right, so providing, making learning available to each and every one. That is
In
the
remote areas.
in the remote areas also, right? In the sitting in the remote area and giving the advancement of city to these students. So this is the philosophy of this.
See, what happens is rural students are also pretty well. So when I just interacted, I've been into cities, I've been into modern institutions, and I've been into rural. I've covered with both the things, both the extremes. So they just see that it is not just, the only thing which lack in a rural set of students is exposure. They lack exposure. If you give exposure, so even they can beat urban students. That's what I would say. So they have we have produced such, what you can say, human resource in institutions.
Rightly said, sir. Education do widen their horizon, and if it is coupled with exposure, then the sky is the limit for them. So, sir, going ahead, grades versus learning. Everyone is obsessed with marks these days, sir. So this is the shift. This is like shifting the attention towards the grades, everyone. So even the students have been always obsessed with grades. And why is it? Is there anything educators and parents can do together?
Ultimate aim is learning. That is what I think. And then equipping the students for facing the days to come. That is what in their day. That is what their day. Suppose we are teaching in a high school students, so their day is not today. So their day starts, practically speaking, another 15 years later, not up to it. So, and we need to equip the students for those days to come to face the world boldly and lead a happy, peaceful, and contented life. And something let the world be raised to a next level and then lead to the another generation. That is what happens. So what is happening in the present situation is grading or awarding marks, what I mean to say. So this is for the academics. So for us, if I grade a child, it is for me, not for the child. Why? It is for me. I should know that where he stands and what else I can do. So it is something like a diagnosis. So what you would say, when you just go out to any laboratory, so they just test all the things, that, etc., etc., etc. So, and that report is not for the patient, and it is for the doctor. So we will advise. So in the same way, this grading or whatever awarding the marks or from different sources and all what you do. So this is only for the academicians. So for the person who is teaching you to understand the child in a better way and not for that. But it has been misinterpreted, and we don't have, very sorry to say, we don't have any other ways, other means. So we carry with the same thing. Suppose let us drop all these things, grading, if somebody says. So what is the alternative for us? Do we have any alternative?
Sir, I think we all have diagnostics problem of marks that, we all somewhere know that marks are not the true evaluator of the child's skill. But still, as you rightly said, there is no other alternative. Maybe NEP might bring in, some new avenues for skill-based assessments.
How happy is, that is what it matters.
Exactly. Yeah. So
happiness quotient, very good.
Yeah, happiness question. Yeah, we all focus on IQ, EQ, but at times HQ is missed somewhere, and that is very much required for the child to to be self move towards education, and he takes a step forward to learn. He should not be told to go and sit to study. It should come from within.
Correct. You make the child happy and it will come with all these kind of things. The only thing is that is the role of a teacher and even a parent also. We forget this kind of things. And how happy, no parent will say that how happy my child is. That is my child's marks. That is what they come with that. That is what. So if that is being shifted in the society properly, some improvement will happen in the academy.
Right, sir. So, sir, going ahead, sir, my next question to you is, why is it not possible to teach critical thinking?
See, critical thinking itself is in what you could say conflict. You could say that some people, they say, call it as skill. Critical thinking is a skill. But cognitive scientists, cognitive psychologists, negate it. They want to call it as a skill. And the second thing is the process of thinking. So is interrelated with content and thought. If you don't have content, so no thoughts. So some content has to be. So the moment you say content, knowledge, domain, that comes over there. So, and we are looking at this issue, the content part, in a multiple perspective. And what is your experience differs from mine and somebody else and someone else. So, in a classroom, if you find 30 to 40 students are there, so each one has a different background, social background, and experience, familial background, everything that counts there. So they have come from different. So and thinking, you think like this, you think like that. That is what they find it very difficult to come up with. So the moment it is a psychological perspective, so yeah, and even this has been said by Buddha very long time. The 8 noble fold paths. Out of that, the right thinking is the one first thing. What is it? The right thinking. So right thought. So how to wear right thought? So the woman start. So when I could just tell you when suggesting what I can say is what from my experiences. When I was teaching spoken English classes to others, that's what I think. So they come up with all the mug up something and then but the language is a skill, so it comes to the easiest way of learning a language, I can say, is with my experience in teaching and is think that language in that language, thinking. How to start thinking and all that is what is. I said that see, you cannot be idle, your mind is not idle, you are not making the transcendental meditation. So that is what I think, making it static, that is what, thinking nothing else, that is. So it keeps coming, thoughts keep coming. So quickly it comes. So let that thought flow in English. You have that thought in your mother tongue, it keeps coming in your mother tongue. So channelize it. So they find very difficult. 5 minutes, so take 5 minutes time, close your eyes, do all these things and all. So these kind of training, so what the teacher has to do. And we don't have much time in the classroom. Syllabus, portion, completion, and all. This is what another pressure to a teacher.
Right.
And there is a variable which you could see also, they come from on that. So all these things make teaching what you could say critical thinking process will be a difficult task.
Right, sir. Absolutely, sir. It's with a limited time frame and with so many kids, it's actually difficult to teach critical thinking. It can't be taught, but definitely teachers and educators can take a step in, making the child think right. Sorry, sir.
Right. It should not be. So the thinking that it is difficult to teach, they should not be neglecting this because it is very important. This is the prime thing what you are going to teach. Because I have read somewhere else around the 74% of the people in America, some research report. I was just reading a couple of weeks back this report. So a research has been done. So 74% what they voted is majority of the graduates fail to think critically. So when this critical thinking is viewing the point around 360 degrees. So we are not getting the what you could see vision of all these things 360 degrees. So my focus is different, the other person's focus is different. So this is one of it. So we keep on practicing it for a long time. And the questions should also be posed in such a way. Of course, in some of the competitive examinations, you could see such kind of critical thinking questions.
Right,
So
right.
it should be a part of even regular what you could say, question papers, day-to-day classroom interaction also should contain these kind of questions. So then probably, so this would go on. So it is such a failure, what you could say that. So ultimately we are producing people for that only. Otherwise, no memory and all these things, systems, computers are there. You can load any number of GB of information there, and information is at our fingertips. So how you are using that information for the betterment of the society, that matters. So that critical thinking is a must.
Exactly, sir. Very rightly said, sir. There is so much information bombarded every second now. It's almost impossible to learn it up and take it. But yes, when we think in the right direction, we analyze the situation, we definitely use this knowledge properly. So, sir, on this note, we will move ahead, sir. We were just talking about critical thinking and how it will help students. So, since the COVID has struck, sir, how do you foresee the future of education post the COVID era?
Posting education the post-COVID era will be, so everybody should be capable of technology, the development of technology. Look at the development, how it has happened. So when we just look at the history and see, we started computers, so slowly we started the virtual life, so mobile and all these kind of things. All of a sudden, so man started completely around find it, started depending on this virtual world rather than this world. So as this technology not being developed, you just imagine that what would be the situation, what would be the point of it. So let us think in a positive way. That's what I think. This technology has really bound us in another way. So to feel the whole. So I used to write on Facebook that all my friends, all my people are in my pocket. Thank you, Facebook. I used so very long back, some 10 years ago, I just posted it on my Facebook. So this is what I think. So this is how. So technology, but nobody expected that we would definitely be on this path. So technology will be the prime thing in the days to come. So these classrooms are taken beyond the four walls. That is what learning will happen beyond that. And around the clock, that is what will go on. And the child will be of free pace. He could learn the things. Stress-free learning would also be there. And it is a couple of both the things. It is what you can say a transitional period. In other way, what we can say that it is a transitional period from a real to a virtual. It will not happen completely. So it will be a partially what we could say. So before pandemic, some 7, 8 years ago, I've seen that one of the international schools uh, here in Bangalore started teaching through tablets. From 10 years, I mean, almost. So, and it was not a success. It was not a success at that time. So they partially started introducing on these things. That is a good thing, good experiment what the institute has done. Appreciate the principal's effort also. That is what I think. But now what has happened is that everybody started teaching. So when we don't have an alternative, so we just go ahead with that. That is what I think. So now it is going on. The same thing. So digital learning would be a prime thing. So what we could say that, and it is a shift. And in the shift, there is a culmination, what we could say, culmination of real classes and the virtual classes. Both the things will go on. And the second thing is focusing of knowledge from that. So we'll be focusing on the skill, which is important. The skill set, what are the skill sets he has acquired? So that is what it counts. And another thing is critical thinking. So what you said, that is one of the important, what you could see key terms in the 21st century learning, critical thinking. So that is also go ahead with these kind of things. So we will just use the knowledge and apply it in different circumstances and carry on that. So that is what it is. So testing has not to be done on the knowledge aspect. So how he is applying that knowledge in the different areas is what that matters. And the shift of learning will happen from that to the other one, what is it. So so the changes which one has to go through with apart from the things, regular chalk and talk. So chalk and talk will also be there. I'll not say that it will go. So it will be there. So nothing can substitute the chalk and talk. But so slowly this virtual world will also take a prominence.
So technology is going to stay, as Sir said, and it's going to be an inevitable part of education in future also. It's time for educators, parents to upskill themselves. And going ahead, as Sir said, we'll be seeing blended learning, and the evaluation might shift to on the basis of how the knowledge is applied by the student. So COVID did have opened some real, good impact on education. It have brought the world closer virtually, though, but it has helped us to give education to all, to make everyone learn.
Now we must thank COVID. The reason is that it has come in this present age before the invention of these technological revolution it has come. So just imagine that will be completely drowned. The whole world will be in darkness. So COVID has come at the right time.
Right.
So and I taught many things to many of us.
Absolutely, sir. So, sir, now we would like to know, sir haven't shared much of his accomplishments with us, but sir, you did have done four master degrees. So, and I'm sure there might be many more accomplishments, but I want to know that accomplishment of which you are most proud of.
Accomplishment which I'm proud of is I'm a teacher. We taught many students. And taught many students what they say that many students moreover and many of them have achieved great heights. What you could say that they completed the civil service examinations and they are in the top positions. So not only in India, even in the neighboring countries, also have students of all those and the civil service of their country and I'm very happy about it. And that is what I can say that. So this is the most important accomplishment. Or I can say that besides we just get awards and all these kind of things. So knowing about human from that is what you could say that is the most important accomplishment which I have done.
Right, sir. So for a teacher, the biggest accomplishment is seeing their children doing well. There is nothing more the bigger joy than this, that you are already touching so many lives.
That is an important thing what I mean to say. So he's a teacher, that is the biggest accomplishment. Rather than what are your accomplishments, we just say that this is what we have done. So thousands of students have got inspired from them and that. So all these people will say that 100% result they have given many awards have been come to the people and that. So this what I would say that. That doesn't give any happiness. I mean to say to the internally motivated, intrinsically motivated, another way to say, a teacher. So,
Right,
he's
sir.
he's a teacher in all the way.
Absolutely, sir. So, sir, we just spoke about the accomplishments, sir. So, I'm sure there might be many challenges also life must have thrown out. So, can we just discuss about one such scenario and how did you handle that?
Challenges. There are many challenges that comes over, and I can say, let me just take one learning. Uh, in one of the schools, it's a very top school, so where I was a principal. A student was physically challenged, and of course, so his hand was completely bent. He could not write properly. And still, he is a good friend of mine on virtual world. So his marks and all these things are very low. Besides many, research, action research, we keep on doing it even. So being a teacher, so we keep doing these things. So I just one such what that one experiment. I keep on calling him and then appreciating the plus point of it and counseling him in all the areas where he was weak in on. We inspired him on that. So you won't believe the student who was in just 35, 30%. He was on the margin. So the parents were feeling that he definitely failed. So amazing. It is an amazing thing. Even an astonishment to me also. That is what I think my words have inspired him in such a way. So that 70%, no, that is what I think. So board examination. So why means we need to not just teaching how beautifully we teach and how students work on that is all the old concept. How we are inspiring that matters. How we are connecting with him that matters. If we are not connecting with, so even nothing will work. Nothing will work. So how best the teacher you are, how good experience if you are not connecting. So what the Tarandai says, that those old philosophy, old theories are still the law of readiness. What he talks about. That law of readiness, how it comes. So when you are connecting with it. So when you are failed to connect, so there is no law for then nothing will happen. So that is what I think. So in that way, so this is what I think. So this I'm very happy about it. That is what I think. I myself not believe. So rise to that level. And this is such a thing, and it's doing wonders in academics. So there's only just what you would say a push, which is required. See, many people around us keep conditioning us. So they keep the words, what you would say, as very powerful. Words are very powerful. The stream of sounds, what we utter, is so powerful. It can make a man or mar a man. Both of things are possible. So and I experienced it. So that is what the institution is based on. This is one recent one that is what it is 3 years ago. This is what it happened in one institution where I was working for. So these are all which you could see. So interacting with them and carrying on with that is definitely. I sincere advice to all these people what I would say is that just connect with them first. Connect with them. So maybe it's not things automatically, everything will fall into the right place.
Right, sir. So inspiring and connecting, that is what is needed for the teachers, sir, to come up with any scenarios. On this note, we move to the very interesting segment of the show, which is called the rapid fire round. You have to answer in one word only. All right, sir?
Only one word. Right.
Yeah, so you're ready.
So asking a teacher, say one word is a difficult task.
I know, sir. That is why this segment is there.
Right. Okay.
So here goes the first question. Name a school principal you admire the most.
My father.
All right. Next question. What child needs more, information or inspiration today?
So for my top probably what I understood inspiration.
All right. Do students needs to be tested or evaluated?
They need to be evaluated rather than tested.
So they should be okay. Now, can online learning replace traditional schooling?
Definitely no.
Definitely not. Okay. What do you find more important, talent or systematic learning?
Systematic learning leads to talent.
Very beautifully answered. Brilliant answers, sir. So now we saw your professional side. We learned about your work. Now we would also like to know about your hobbies, your area of interest, or sports you're involved in, and why do you enjoy them?
My hobbies is reading and writing. That is what I think, and moreover, teaching when time comes. I keep just doing that. In the counseling is one more thing. So I just I've been the student of psychology. That is what I think. When it comes to sports, badminton and volleyball. This is what I like. I watch it also sometimes. It's what time permits. Gardening is my hobby. I love gardening.
All right. So this is Krishnan, sir, who loves gardening. He loves counseling. He loves reading, writing, basketball, volleyball. So, and these are the things which keeps him fresh and relaxed. So going to the last question of the show, which is also called viewer's choice question, sir. Can intelligence be raised by education? If yes, then how?
Intelligence, definitely intelligence. So that is what being educationists we say that intelligence can be raised by education. Otherwise, so there is no education at all. So we have to say far the statement. Yes, we have to say that. That is what I think. And it's not just by teaching and all. That is what I can say. You can praise it. So students keep observing you in all the ways. So what I can say, 30% of your teaching will influence on teachers, and 70% is your non-verbal part. So outside the classroom, how you behave outside the classroom, in the campus, and outside the campus, in the meeting. So these kind of things are constantly, and what you do. So we keep on observing on these things. So they not just watch your words and all. So your action also that is what I think. So when you start interacting with people with all these things, that is what I think. So it will definitely improve this intelligence. That is what I think. And history has also shown that. That is what I think. So with the team of intelligence, so intelligence can be raised. So it is possible. So only what you could say, not from the textbook, the teaching and all these things. So being with them in all the way, when you start interacting with them in all the way and the observation, so what 8 hours of time what you spend there in the campus. So it is completely how you are using your 8 hours. The students should be observing and all these things will definitely raise the intelligence more.
A very powerful message shared by sir here, that how our school hours depend a lot on raising the intelligence and even what the child is learning and observing and applying all these things definitely aid to raise his intelligence. So thank you, sir. It was a very, very wonderful discussion with you. We are very, very grateful for you for giving us this opportunity to hear you out. It was very insightful, and I'm sure my viewers are going to get a lot of insights from this discussion, sir.
Thank you very much, also. It is my honor actually to interact with you and then share my views and that. So that is what I think. So you are the one who is carrying this information to the whole world in different platforms. So I must appreciate you and I must be thankful to you also. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So have a great day.